Turning to our Sunrise Smart Start here, and breaking overnight, a 14-year-old from Rochester in the hospital after being stabbed. Police tell us they were called to the scene just around midnight on Parcells Avenue. Officers found the teen boy stabbed at that scene. He was taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries, expected to recover. However, no one is currently in custody. In further breaking news, Rochester police searching for the suspects involved in a stabbing on Portland Avenue 20 minutes before this incident we just mentioned. They are at this moment unrelated. We're told a 42-year-old man found stabbed, taken to the hospital, also expected to recover here. We have no one to name yet in custody as well in this case, so if you think you know anything, please call 911. Turning to our traffic update for the morning. Things are moving along smoothly across the west side as we have no accidents to report across 390, 490 and 590. 104 in the thruway looking great this Monday, so have a nice, safe commute for the start of your return to work week. Rochester police still searching for the person responsible for the shooting of a 24-year-old man on Shepherd Street. Police say they found him near South Goodman and Monroe Avenue with a gunshot to his upper body around 6 last night, taken to Strong for his injuries, expected to survive. However, after further investigations, officials say the man had actually been shot on Shepherd Street, driven in a private car to the area where officers found him on Goodman. Now, they have 2 other people in custody due to a separate matter, but also related to the shooting. Certainly a lot to unpack here. We'll stay on top of the story, and if you think you know anything, you're asked to please call 911. 2 people arrested, accused of shooting a dog with a crossbow arrow. Greece police say they responded to Adeline Park, finding that dog owner who had reported his golden retriever was hit in the torso with an arrow. 56-year-old James Smith and 45-year-old Lynette Torres allegedly in their front yard doing target practice with a crossbow when one of the arrows misfired, hitting the dog while the owner was on a walk with it. The dog had to be taken to the hospital in Niagara Falls, as we're told. Meanwhile, both Smith and Torres charged with reckless endangerment. You're seeing them on your screen now, and Torres also faces an additional criminal mischief charge. Police say they recovered the crossbow, and both of these people will be arraigned later in Greece Town Court. Fire officials in Henrietta say a camper burst into flames on Caitlin Street last night. This video showing just how high those flames and smoke were able to get, but firefighters tell us things were quickly brought under control, although it did extend some damage to the garage. The home itself and pets inside successfully saved by the firefighters. The cause here remains under investigation. Now, staying in Henrietta, the news here, the Monroe County Sheriff's Office needs your help finding this missing 45-year-old man. Officials say Jeffrey Hoffer was last seen in the area of 5000 East Henrietta Road, June 27th at 6 a.m. Jeffrey is described as 5 foot 7 inches tall, 190 pounds. He has brown hair and hazel eyes. If you think you know anything about where he might be, please contact your local authorities. Happening today, the jury trial begins for the man accused of murdering a father of 3. Investigators say that in August of 2023, 28-year-old Brandon Hall shot 31-year-old Alec Rouse during an argument and apparently used an illegally possessed handgun. This was over on North Plymouth Avenue and Ambrose Street in the city. Rouse later died at the hospital. Hall currently held on a $25,000 cash bail due back in court at 9:30 today. The suspected shooter in a double homicide from earlier this year also set to be in court today for an arraignment. 42-year-old Hector Ramos Diaz recently apprehended in Puerto Rico. Now, for the murders of Wahid Nazario and Frank Rosario Vasquez, where police accuse Ramos Diaz of ambushing these victims as they walked to their car. Ramos Diaz apparently firing a handgun nearly 20 times outside of a bar on North Goodman Street back in February. Investigators say after the murders, Ramos Diaz fled to Puerto Rico, where the Felony Fugitive Task Force was able to apprehend him. He'll be in court again at 1:30. Communities nationwide continue honoring Officer Jamison Ritter of the Cleveland Police Department as the Webster native was killed in the line of duty on Thursday, while responding to a man wanted for felony assault. This weekend, hundreds of people ran in his honor, including right here in our community. This is part of a tradition that started back in Winter Springs, Florida in 2019, when then 10-year-old Zachariah Cartilage ran a mile with a blue line flag every time an officer was killed. He then presented the families with the flags upon completion. Even though Officer Jamison Ritter dedicated his time and service to the people of Ohio, his family and legacy are being recognized across the country, including in this video you're seeing here from the Rochester community.
Although Officer Ritter did not work in the greater Rochester area, this community still lost a son. And, still mourning a hero.
And when the Ritter family comes back home to Rochester, this community will greet them with the flag from this weekend's run, showing they have all the support they hopefully need. 24-year-old Delonte Hardy, he was charged with aggravated murder Friday morning for this officer's death, bond set at $5 million. Meanwhile, a memorial service for Officer Ritter will take place today at the Cathedral of St. John the Evangelist in Cleveland. City officials say there will be a procession leading to the church, though the route details have yet to be released. A funeral will be held for Ritter out of state. Today's service will start at 10. Continuing our coverage of a 13-year-old boy who was just laid to rest after he'd been shot and killed by police in Utica a little more than a week ago. This after he reportedly pointed what turned out to be a BB gun at officers. Hundreds of mourners coming out for the funeral of Naya Wei yesterday, where the refugee from Southeast Asia, the country of Myanmar, killed a week ago from Friday. Utica police say that he'd run from officers after being stopped on the street, and the state attorney general's office is now investigating. Community members say they also plan to hold a march next weekend demanding justice. Hospitalization numbers rising in New York State as new COVID-19 variants are being discovered. Governor Kathy Hochul reminds New Yorkers stay up to date on those vaccines and follow the current CDC guidance. Hochul says that wastewater surveillance so far does show growing presence of new variants. At-home COVID-19 tests are still available at many local pharmacies around the state and through the Affordable Care Act. Most health insurance plans will also cover the cost of your vaccines. Now, turning to some national news, concern continues to grow around President Joe Biden's allies, and that widens after several had called for him to drop out of the race after a private video conference between House Democratic leadership and committee members. It comes as the Biden campaign wants to show the president interacting with voters, appearing more off the cuff, given the mounting concerns within his own party after the poor debate performance and a television interview that did not do anything to curb this criticism. Over to Texas, where 10 million people are in the path of Hurricane Beryl. That storm just making landfall a little more than an hour ago, and the deadly storm has already brought rain and howling winds, dangerous storm surge across the Caribbean and the Yucatan Peninsula. Texas Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick initially issued a preemptive disaster declaration for more than 120 counties. We'll certainly keep an eye on that, James, and what effects will come later in our week from that storm.
Yeah, we'll get it Wednesday.
Yes, we will.
It's just rain for us.
Just rain.
We don't have to deal with storm surge. We don't have to deal with the wind. And there is a tornado threat within the storm, so we don't have to deal with that either as well. But let's enjoy today. Should be a nice way to start off your work week. Temperatures do climb. We'll get well into the 80s to near 90 degrees, so it's hot, a little bit humid. Humidity starts to go up as we get into tomorrow, which we will again make a run at 90 degrees. And both today and tomorrow do have a chance for an isolated shower or a thunderstorm in the afternoon. Better chance tomorrow there. And then we fall in temperatures but go up with the rain chances. You can clearly see that Wednesday sticks out there. Thursday, maybe a lingering shower or two. Nice dry stretch to finish the week. Friday, Saturday, before showers return on Sunday. But yeah, so we'll see if we add to our tally. We've gotten 5 90-degree days. Today would be number 6.
Maybe even a beach day for today.
Oh, great beach day.
Oh, thank you so much, James. We've got our plans for today. Thank you for sharing your morning here with us on News 8 at Sunrise. Stay tuned for your next update.
Follow News 8 wherever you are on RochesterFirst.com, Facebook, Twitter, and on our app for news and weather.